welcome to Real Estate Investing Conversations with Adana.
It takes a village.
A wise person once said, the best revenge is your paper. So why not invest in real estate? Today you will be talking to just us, Shelton and Adana, part 1 of our Triplex Chronicles. Hi everybody. So we haven't seen you guys in a long time. It's been several months. So we decided to do another video because we've been really busy. That's probably one of the reasons why I haven't been on. I probably could have had another video, but we've been busy. So the biggest thing that we had was purchasing our recent triplex. So that's been really, we're learning a lot through that. And but it's been an adventure. So we may break this video up into several parts because I want to talk about how we acquired the property, the closing, the transitioning with the new tenants, and so we can talk about that a little bit. So today we don't have anyone else on, it's just me and my husband. So we're just going to talk about our adventure with the triplex. So I guess we'll call this like the Triplex Chronicles or something.
Sure.
Okay.
That's a good name.
Okay.
That's a good name.
So, so when I found, did you find we got an email.
You found it.
Yeah, we got an email from our realtor. Well, our realtor, sometimes I do find properties when I go online, but I think this particular one, we had, the realtor was sending us based on our criteria. So you can make sure you have a certain amount of, certain criteria of what you want to purchase. You can have your realtor send those to you automatically. So that's what I did, especially if it's anything under 4 units. So that's what I did. So I think we found a property that was actually a 4-plex that was first. And right. So we were really hard on that one. And
what's the date? What's the timeline? You talking about around June? We found a 4-plex.
It was actually in July. It was early July. I'm gonna tell you why I remember that.
Okay.
But it was early July.
In July, we found a 4-plex.
We found a 4-plex, and then we were hard the other realtor was like, well, there's a lot of people on this property. You got to wait for the open house and da. We had money. Our money was burning. We were like, we know this is a good property.
Why did you know it was in July?
Oh, I'll tell you in a minute.
Okay.
So the money was burning, and we knew that this was a good buy because of the price and everything. But I think it was like the next day. It was mid to late July, because the next day that I think it was the next day or 2 days after that property came through that we found.
Why did you know it was in July?
Because I actually found it on our anniversary.
Did you?
Yes,
Mm.
I did.
Okay.
So that was our 19th anniversary. And then I thought it was a sign because when I went to drive by the property, what was the name of the realtor?
Oh, yeah,
company?
It was Realty Specialist.
It was Realty Specialist. And Realty Specialist is actually the first realty company that we went through to buy our first home in Churchland. And it was exactly 19 years ago because we bought our first home 2 weeks before we got married.
So you went off emotion?
I did not go off emotion. You know I didn't go off emotion.
All right, rule
but
number one.
But I knew it was a sign.
Rule number one.
I knew it was a
sign. Don't purchase property off of emotion.
It wasn't emotion.
You didn't purchase off emotion?
I didn't purchase off emotion. I purchased it.
Don't purchase off emotion.
It met everything. And then on top of that, it was on our anniversary. So I was like, it's a sign. Okay. So let me tell you.
That's emotion.
Okay. So let me tell you what some of the, what it did hit. So I did not want to pay a whole lot of money per unit because I'm like, I could buy a single, if I'm paying more than maybe 60, 70,000, maybe I want to say 70 or 80,000 more than a unit, I'm like, maybe not be worth it. So I knew, so the price of the unit was less than that. It was like, probably, I think it was even less than 60,000 a unit. The other thing, the rents were extremely low. And I knew the rents were extremely low, and that's probably one of the reasons why the price was a little low too. I knew that was a good buy, and also I looked at the sales around it, so I kind of thought it was a good buy, a good purchase. And when I looked at it, I knew they already had renters inside. That was a plus and a negative, already having renters inside, and we both experience purchasing properties with our, renters already.
I don't think it was a negative.
Well,
I think it's always a positive when you have renters already there.
In the beginning, absolutely.
But at the same time, I think it was two positives that we took away from it. And the first positive was that they had renters there, right? Yeah. So the money already came, as soon as we purchased it. Mm-hmm. But at the same time, we also knew that, based on our market research on the area, that the rental cost or the rental price that they were paying for each unit was really low.
Right. And we knew that because
you did your market research.
And but we knew that because what? Okay. We knew that in the neighborhood because what?
Oh, because we own a home.
Right. So right. That was another thing. That's another thing that you probably want to do too. Having just knowing, because when I see a house in Portsmouth, and especially in certain areas in Portsmouth, I can see the price, and I'm like, oh, that's cheap for that area.
Right. Which was weird, because at the same time, what people don't realize is, at the same time we were looking to purchase that home, we were also modernizing the other home. So which was cool. So what ended up happening was we did all this modernization effort to the other home, and because we did that, we made almost an additional $300 a month on what we were actually purchasing that home for, but on what we were renting it out for before. And so this home being in the same area, 3 units, same type of structure, same type of rooms. We knew if we actually modernized this home, how much more profit we can actually bring to the home. So we kind of took that approach and said, okay, property's low, 3 units, modernization efforts definitely going to be done. So we would almost add anywhere between $900 to $1,500 extra a month if we modernize the home to the level it needs to be modernized at.
Right. So I guess in technical terms, it's called value add. So when people purchase a property where they feel that, hey, this is a property that I can add value to and increase the rents, this was like a value add property that we saw. And again, because we were in that area already, because we knew it worked because we've done it. We had a property that was already there.
You did?
Yes, okay, Shelton. Cool. Right. We had a property.
Sure.
We had a property.
You're confident in saying.
We had a property that was already there. It was actually a single family that's already there that we owned. That was not even 2 or 3 streets over, and so it was the same type of market, the same clientele, all of that, and we knew how to market it, and we were comfortable in purchasing that property. So I drove by it. I was like, I saw it, and then I saw it was realty specialist. I said, that's a sign. It's meeting all of these things, and that too. So
isn't a sign of motion?
What are you talking about?
I'm just saying. So, I mean, at the end of the day, we're not going off emotion.
We're not going off emotion. Everything else, so I can take. I'm just saying, I can take that out if you want me to, but it hit everything else.
Okay, so it hit everything else.
Yeah.
She knew it was 3 units. We wanted a 3 unit. We wanted a 3 to 5 unit. We've done properties in the past, which were 1 units, 2 units. And so this was probably the one we went up the most, which was the 3 unit. At this current point, we put an offer in, but at the same time, we had to fight against a couple other offers.
We did,
right? So Absolutely. It started off at one, if I'm not mistaken, it was like 155.
I thought it was maybe 160.
No, it was like 155.
Okay.
Right. We had to fight against about 4 other people, but we came with a very strong offer of 165. Right. And what happened at that point?
So once we actually got the offer, we realized that buying. So we actually went through a commercial. We didn't purchase cash on this one. We usually purchase cash on our properties, but this one we decided to get a commercial loan for. And we realized commercial loans are a little bit different as far as the process than a real estate loan. So some people can look at it was easy. It was kind of easy, but we had to submit way different documents. So they didn't really, they cared about our credit. They cared about it. But they wanted to see what was being produced from the home. So that is what the company, the mortgage company cared about. Can this investment produce income? And so we were submitting documents as far as the leases, that the current leases. We were maybe submitting, the T12, which is called a trailing 12. How much money that they were making for the
Can we break it down in more layman terms?
What's up? Go ahead.
You want me to break it down?
Go ahead, baby.
Let's just be real. And when you're looking at a home that you have no intentions of living in, and it's strictly for making money off of, it's a different type of game. And people need to understand that is that when you actually looking at a residential home you're going to live in, they have certain type of criteria they look for, right? The criteria is, how much you make, how much you're going to do, how much, what's your credit score, can you afford to live there, right? But when you're looking at purchasing a home that you have no intention of living in a business loan, they have a different criteria. One, it's all about what do you have on hand. How much cash do you have on hand?
Absolutely.
Your credit score may be a criteria, but it ain't the best. It ain't a criteria that they're looking at that's going to make them be like, yep, we're going with you. It's more about, have you ever delivered before? What product have you delivered? Do you have cash on hand? How have you been saving that cash on hand? And then how you go from there.
Yeah.
If you have those, that's what gets you where you need to get to. A lot of times, and we want to keep this as good as we can. A lot of times, a lot of your the people you deal with, they're not used to that. They're going to be more used to. They're going to be more used to, I didn't even get up.
I know, but I'm just going to interrupt.
You already know what I'm talking about. Then.
I know what you're going to talk about, but again, this is public, so we want to be careful on how we say this. But I'm just saying, I know what you're saying. So so what's also important, this probably should have been before how we found the property, setting up your team. Setting up your team is the most important thing to do. And your team is, your lender is a team member. Your attorney is your team member. Your realtor is your team member. And if you have any investors or whatever, it was just me and my husband, but setting up your team is very important. So it's important to know who you're dealing with.
Right.
So if you are dealing with an attorney or a realtor or a lender who has who's working in a whole different realm than you are when it comes to commercial versus residential, it is important to understand their experience.
Right, but I'm not necessarily saying. So the difference is, I'm not necessarily saying that you don't have to have them, right? Because you're training someone at the same time. So when he moves
but sometimes
on,
with money, right? I don't train anybody when I spend money. I'm not trying to.
Sometimes training people is always good.
I'm not. Right? I'm saying when it comes to my coin, I'm not training anybody.
Okay, I ain't never heard her say coin.
He has heard me say coin.
She never said coin before. Okay. She must got that from Housewives of Atlanta.
I didn't say that. But what I'm saying is, when it comes to that, I'm not training nobody. So
What do you
my
mean?
goal.
You're training people.
I'm not training anybody. I'm just being honest, Shelton. If
They're gonna learn on the fly regardless. Oh, hold on. Let me get in. Right.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Coin.
Because you didn't run me hot.
Coin. Coin got me a little weird. That's weird. All right. Anyway, so like I was saying, I'm not saying you can't go with those people, but you got to know what you're dealing with when you have people like that, right? There's people that never dealt with a lot of business loans or how those things work. So in this particular deal, there was people.
We don't have to be specific. We could just say.
I'm just saying people learning on the fly, right?
Yes.
And so we had to take those people with us to learn on the fly, and it's always a good thing because at the end of the next experience, they're going to be already well trained, and that way we can move forward, and which makes them more of a person you want to deal with because now they know the situation.
Well, will you use the person next time?
Yeah, most definitely I will. That's not a problem. I think.
No, he won't. I promise you he won't.
That's not true.
I promise you he won't.
I will.
No, you won't.
Because I think these people are well trained. Anyway, point I'm getting at is we learned a lot from the process.
Yes.
And at the same time, it ended up working out. We did the inspection. We knew exactly some of the issues that came along.
Right.
That came our way once we did it.
Right.
And those inspections, after we were done and we closed on the property, it was a lot of stuff that took place. But when we closed on the property, all of a sudden those issues from an inspection perspective, all of a sudden became one of the first priorities from our tenants as soon as we purchased the home. And when I talked to them, they said, "Oh, yeah, we knew the other tenant knew, but at the same time he knew we were closing on this home, and so he said, wait till we're done." So as soon as we were done, that's when the issues came about.
I'm gonna harp on what he's talking about because I think it's important to talk about for people.
Sure.
So I'm gonna give a hypothetical situation. If you have, like, for example, the realtor who is used to dealing with people just buying single family residence, so they're buying their primary residence. You can just unplug the thing.
Yes. Go ahead.
People just purchasing their primary residence. Financing process is different. Certain things that you ask for is different. So of course you're going to ask for the lease. You're going to ask for the existing leases. You're going to the inspection report is a little bit different. You may not ask for them to fix it. If I was a single family if it was a single family, like the home, even though we got our home built now that we're in, but if we purchased, the previous homes that we bought, if there was something wrong with the home, we asked that person, fixed it before we moved in. In a commercial and investment realm, you're not necessarily need to do that because you saved your money. You know what you're buying. You know that you're gonna have to fix it up. You know that you're gonna have to update it. So it's a different way of looking at how you're going to approach it. So when you are dealing with people, it's important to find someone who has that experience because it does not slow you up, and every time it slows you up, you lose money. So the longer you don't close, the longer you don't get what you ask for, or the longer or even the realtor, the listing agent, if they're not privy to having it either, it can slow the process up on top of, weeks can go into months or whatever. So when I lose weeks, I lose money on income. So that's what I was telling Shelton. And Shelton, I guess, is acting like, I'm not saying he's not a nice guy, but he's acting like he's not about his business because he knows that when you have people that slow up your money, that's not a good look. That's not what we're trying to do. And we're not trying to do that. So, but it's important to make sure that you have somebody that is on your team that knows what they're doing and that has experience and know what they're doing, so that you can just everything can go be speedy. They know you don't even have to remind them to ask them about this and this and this because they're already on it. And people that are you want to make sure you get people on your team that's like you, because we crazy a little bit. We a little loony.
What
Ain't we,
makes us?
baby?
What makes us loony?
What makes us loony a little bit, babe?
No, if you're not a go hard person, then I guess we'll be loony.
Yeah,
I'll call you in the middle of the night.
We ain't calling nobody about it. But we are really serious about we want people to follow through. Because we make sure we call those people if you need a document, okay, why you still ain't got the document?
You got the document now. What's wrong?
Yeah. Now what's going on? So we want someone on our team that are similar to us. Now, everybody's not like us. Some people are patient. We are not those people. We're not those people.
We gave you the document. We gave you what you need. What's the hold up? When is the hold up going to be done? How long is it going to take? Okay, you know what? We want it done by this day. Okay, what is taking so long? That's how we are. And when more people are like, well, just they're doing it. No, I want to know what's taking so long. I'm ready to move forward.
And we know that people are not going to move like you. We get that. But we want people to move as closely as
I don't believe that's true.
Well, I'm saying people are not, when it's yours,
when it's something that's on the line for you, you move.
Yeah.
I want people who thinks that something's on the line for them and
too.
They're gonna move.
Right.
So at the end of the day, I want them to move just as hard as I want to move.
Right.
And so that.
We learned a lot in this process, knowing how to set up our team in a certain way where we want to make sure that we get someone that have a similar mindset business-wise like us, whether it's the attorney, whether it's the realtor, whether it's the mortgage person, whether it's, the inspection people, they're on your team. When you call them inspection people up, they're on your team. They're part of your team. So you want to make sure that you get it, and the people that updates and renovates the home, that goes through and tell you how much, what's going to cost what, they're on your team, and because they're going to make everything work. And but you want people to you want to find people that's similar to you as far as that mindset is concerned, as close to it as you can. Right. So I did want to make that point. I forgot what we were talking about before that. But
with only about 10 minutes left in this video.
How we 10 minutes left? Who told you how long the video was gonna be?
Because I'm just saying that's usually people don't like to be on longer than 30 minutes in this Twitter world. So
we ain't even on Twitter. See, my baby is. Let me tell you something. He is a computer person. He is a programmer, and he said in the Twitter world, this is not on Twitter, y'all.
People don't like to be on longer than 30 minutes an hour trying to learn something. Though. So my next question to you is: once we purchase the home, we close. Home is ours now.
Dang, we skipped a lot of steps.
Like what?
Inspection. Did you want to talk about inspection?
No, I want to talk about inspection.
Okay.
We just closed on the home.
Okay.
We got an inspection report. There's things you need to fix.
I was going to break this up in like 3 or 4. I guess we could still talk about it because I was going to say 3 or 4 segments, but
there's so many other subjects we can talk about on the podcast.
Right. Okay.
But the fact is, at the end of the day, we purchased a home.
Yes.
Home is ours now.
Yes.
Everybody think, first thing we're gonna do is collect some money. No, it's not like that.
Nah.
Right?
Nah.
So one of the things that I like that my wife did on this home that we're going to continue to move with moving forward is she created a packet.
Mm-hmm.
That was the first time.
What have it in here? Go ahead, keep talking. Let me see if I have it.
So she created a packet. I've never seen her do that before, but we're going to move that on moving forward. A very nice packet that was like a welcoming package to the this wasn't 4SNA. I think this was the Davis.
You ain't gotta tell people our LLC. Right.
Well, we came up with a new LLC, but it laid out, who's your trash, the person you call for trash, who you deal with water. It gave you a good welcoming package that allowed everyone to understand how do you make your payment. We did something different this time, and it's from learning experiences. We don't accept anything at this point but electronic payment, and you can make your payment through 2 ways. Either you can give me a credit card payment, which or you can give us a direct checking account debit from your account. We use a software called RentTech Direct. RentTech Direct allows us to manage each and every user, each and every tenant. We know what property you're in. It gives you 2 ways of making payment. It comes with the app, with the mobile app, so you can pay us through your phone, or you can go on the website and make the payment. But we've been using RentTech Direct for a while now, and at this point, if you're not willing to make your payment through RentTech Direct, again, a mobile app, you can put your work order requests, everything, any issue you have, all that goes through RentTech Direct. If you're not willing to make that payment through there or willing to do anything through there, we won't even consider you as a tenant at this point. And so my wife came up with this book, very nice book, did it in a couple days, looks real good. And that's what we have actually used. And one of the other things I'm looking at doing in the future is I'm looking at, she don't even know yet, I'm looking at a tool possibly that can do workflow acceptance of the form. So one of the things say it again. Workflow acceptance of the form.
Workflow acceptance of the form.
Right. So what we can actually do in the future, what I'm looking at, I just got to look at the cost and pricing of it, maybe some free tools out there or not. But what we're looking at doing is having it where electronically I can pull up your application and say, here's your rental agreement. And I can do a workflow. They say, here's your rental agreement. Here's your serial numbers. Here's all the stuff we have. You can actually get it. You sign it. Once you sign it, it comes back to me. I end up signing it. And the next thing you know, you can see your application. So now you can see your rental agreement electronically that we signed and we agreed on. And now I'm electronically able to track you based on your rental payments. Any work order requests that you have goes through this system as well. And if RentTech Direct also has the ability to allow us to immediately call one of our maintenance people to go and fix whatever issue you have. So we're making sure everything is automated, seamless for our customers and for our tenants as we move forward on building a better environment for them. What do you think?
Yeah, I guess so. I mean, that's fine.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it sounds good. I just wanted to get it sounds good. I just wanted to get the particulars on it because RentTech does a lot of that stuff.
Mm-hmm. It does, and that's why I love RentTech.
Yeah, I do too. Okay, so I'm gonna talk about the booklet really quick. So the reason that I did that was because
I didn't talk about the booklet already.
I mean, you talked about it, but you kind of skimmed through it. So I'm gonna tell you the reason why. So the moment I got. And you forgot the other thing too I purchased.
What?
I purchased 2 things. I mean, I purchased that and then, okay. So the moment we signed on the dotted line, I immediately got anxiety because I'm like, okay, we have 3 more tenants, right? That we are property managing. We still don't have a property manager. We are managing these properties on our own, okay? So I immediately got anxiety. So the biggest thing I got anxiety on was keys. I want to make sure I had, because now this is our, these 3 units make 7 units altogether that we have. And each house has more than one key. You got a key, like we got, some of the keys to a garage. You got something that's keys to the side, the door, whatever. So like I'm like, oh my God, we got keys now. So I went to Lowe's and bought a key box, and I was able to label everything, front door, back door, whatever. So that was one part. And then the second part, I was like, I need to make sure that I don't have to go over and you mentioned too about the other home that we had in Portsmouth we were actually renting that out. The lease had ended. We were actually renting that out too at the same time. So this book came in handy because I gave them this book too. And so because it was kind of generic information, because like some of the things like your trash person comes on Tuesday or whatever, so they can write that in, or I gave you the keys to the front door, back door, or whatever. So so I had anxiety about making sure I don't repeat the same information over and over again to now like 4 people, right? So I wanted to have everything in one document, and I wanted to make sure that everyone, if they needed anything, and this is, and I got this done at what is it? What is the we used to say Kinko's, but what is the Office Max? I went to Office Max, and I got these made.
How much it cost you?
I don't remember. Probably like $4 or so.
Like these?
I think something like that. I forgot. But anyway, I bought these. I made sure I didn't repeat the same information over and over and over and over again. And I got this together. And it looks professional, a little bit. It looks like, I can't see it really well, but it's a color picture, and it's a picture of a home. It says welcome home on it. And it has all our contact information. The biggest thing I wanted to make sure was people were able to start their account through Rent Tech Direct. One thing I love about Rent Tech Direct is, like my husband was talking about, the workflow, which is a little bit similar, but once they have their application, they're already in the system. And so it was just a matter of them now getting their login information in, filling out other information. So the biggest thing this talked about was how to start their login information. And once they set the login information, I get a ping on my phone, and I was able to start their lease, get all that straight. Because,
how was that experience? Getting everybody set up in Rent Tech Direct.
Oh, good question. Good question. So, and this was a segue really to our next statement, our next thing of knowing your tenants, your tenants that you have acquired from another landlord, because you kind of get an idea of what type of tenants you want, how much they pay, how often they pay, and their experience and of their renting experience and all that. But we have an older person that is our renter, and they were not as privy as the younger ones when it came to going online and logging in. Now, one thing that my husband and I, so that's the transition from the prior landlord. So the landlord before, we were reading the leases. And he would meet them at like the hospital, like I'll meet you at the hospital. And he had the address at I'll meet you at the hospital to pick up cash payments, and we're like, we live in Tawana, we're not going to pick up no cash payments, we're not doing all this. So, I don't know what you're talking about. Okay. So, we are. So we made sure that we got, we made sure that we got, all of the tenants, logged on. I think Shelton, I don't think he went down there, but you was about to go down there and help the older guy.
Right. Eventually, in a roundabout way, again, I think I mentioned it earlier, is that at this current point, because of my experience and what we have dealt with in the past, if you are not able to make your payment electronically, I won't even consider you as a tenant.
But if you already had those tenants, then you had no choice but to work with them.
Right.
But they all did. They all did.
They did.
They did.
They did. I wasn't going to meet you at a hospital
right.
to accept your payment.
Right.
I wasn't going to have to come out my way to make a payment. If you want to live there, you need to make a payment. So
and everybody pays online for everything now, like utilities and all that. So
at the end of the day, it was like, I'm going to make this. You're going to have to make the payment this particular way. Mm-hmm. If not, I want to consider you a tenant. And moving forward, that's how I've actually been moving. If you can't make your payment through the online app, I have given you mobile technology. I have given you a way where you can schedule your payment. I have it where it's automatically debited from your account.
If you wanted to.
If you wanted to.
Yeah.
I have given you an opportunity to debit it, to schedule it, debit it, credit card it. Any way you want to make a payment, I have software.
ACH it, you can take it out your bank.
I have software that is readily available for you. It's going through one piece only, and you can download the app. I made things very easy for you. The only thing you have to do is use my tool. If you can't use the tool, I don't even consider you as a tenant at this point. So that's how we've been working it. I will say the last thing is, if you want to talk about it,
and we're going to make this
issues as
we can make that
things before I go. I want to talk. Do you want to talk about maintenance that has taken place since? Or
we can make that part 2, babe. I said this could be.
Part 2 we'll talk about maintenance, and then what happened once we raised rent to market value. Those are the 2 things that's the next on the list, right?
And that's on the next thing on the list. And I kind of said it before, like setting precedents. We have to make sure our renters know us and what we will allow, because we're not going to allow. We may not allow the same thing the previous landlord allows. So when and some things in here are kind of like rules too, about where to park and all that. So we want to make sure we set precedents on certain things to understand like what is allowed, what we will do. We're not going to come out there and meet you at the hospital and get your money, right. Type of thing. So.
Okay, so that's part 2.
Yeah, we can make all that part 2, because I know. I mean, I have so much. I mean, I can talk about how we created the LLC. That's a whole nother situation. Some people want to understand that, creating the LLC. Some people want to know like the maintenance, what you're talking about. Just communication, just the software in general, Rent Tech Direct. That's a whole. I can probably put on 30 hours on just talking about Rent Tech Direct, because that will help any new landlord or any existing landlord. That has helped us tremendously. And we were prior to this 3 unit we purchased, we were using Rent Tech Direct like 30% of what it could be used for.
The capacity we use now is unbelievable.
Yeah, I mean
I'm not an advocate. I'm not endorsing.
We're not getting money from it. Trust me, we're paying money every month. We're not getting money from Rent Tech Direct. And I don't know. I mean, I can't really compare it to other software companies, even though I researched some, a couple of them. But based on the price and based on what it does and how easy it is, I really, really enjoy that software. So we can definitely talk about that. And
that can be a segment in its own.
Yeah, that's what I'm
saying.
Rent Tech
Direct and how we use it. I mean, there's so much potential in it, but maybe Rent Tech Direct will cut me a check.
Maybe we got to get enough views first. Before you got to probably get a couple millions.
Hey y'all, thanks. This is good. I think we'll do it again. Let us know what your feedback was. It helpful? Did it provide you any information? And then we can always do this again if it does provide you any information. We're always trying to make people successful.
Definitely.
At least based on what we want to do and how we try to do it to make money. So
and I wanted to do this, and I mean I've been saying like, Shelton, we need to do this video because a lot of people are asking me like, how did you buy it and what did you do? And then again, we can talk about financing. That could be a whole hour on financing. How did you what did you do for that? So I think it's really there's a lot of information that we can tell you, and I wanted to talk to you guys because a lot of people did have questions about how we did it and how it's going. People are curious about how it's going. Does it make you money? All of those things. And I think that we decided just to do just me and him because we know that there's a wealth of information for people that that may know. And again, even though I am that person that want the 100 unit and 200 unit, I do know there's a lot of people out there that just want to get started. Even if 1 or 2 units. So
Right.
I think we'll be able to help people do that.
Okay. Hey, well, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Maybe you can actually let us know what you think the next podcast could be. Maybe it can be something like, how did you purchase your first one? How did you move forward? So, okay.
Other than this Chronicles, because that's the next ones, babe, the Triplex Chronicles.
All right. Thanks.
Bye.
Take care. All right.